Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Megan. On this channel I take books that I've read and I compare them to their movie, or in this case TV show adaptations. Typically I do young adult books just because that's the type I like. So on this episode I am doing John Green's Looking for Alaska. Don't you just love that cover? I know when I was like 14 and I first read this book, I was so angsty. I loved it. I loved this cover. Even though I was very against smoking when I was that age. Still am. But anyway, let us begin. So this video will probably be shorter than my others just because honestly it's been kind of a while since I read this book. Like I said, I first read it when I was 14-ish. Definitely in the younger high school years. And then recently I got a Barnes & Noble gift card, and what I like to do is I like to buy some that I know I love and some that I haven't read yet, just so in case I read, like if I get all books that I haven't read yet, and if they all suck, then I'm stuck with them. But at this way, I at least have some books in my library that I know I like. So I bought this one as one that I know I like, and then I bought a bunch that I haven't read. I bought a couple others that I know I like. So, and then I actually lent this book to one of my friends. She obviously loved it. It's a little worn already. And then I have not reread it, but just through like discussing the book with her, it really brought back a lot of it. And then it was made into a show, which I watched on Hulu. So first things first, like I said, I loved this book when I was a kid. While I was talking to my friend about it, she said that she thought it was boring. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't remember, but I loved it. And then just talking to her, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I do remember that. And yeah, I'm thinking about it now, like, it seems kind of boring. Like, of course, like okay, my videos always have spoilers. There are some of these types of videos where they're like, no spoilers. I don't know how you do these videos without spoilers. So mine have spoilers. Here comes a big one. Yeah, I feel like my videos are geared towards if you've read the book or you've watched the adaptation and then you want to see if you want to do one or the other. You know, if you want to read it now or watch it now, if that makes sense. So spoilers, because I'm assuming you already know what happens. If you don't, turn it off right now. Okay. So the only not boring part to me in the book was when like Alaska died and like the last prank. Any pranks were good in this, but other than that, I was like, it's kind of boring as an adult. Now that's saying a lot because, like I said, as an adult, I do like a lot of young adult books, but I don't know, this one just doesn't do it for me anymore. As an adult, it really got me. When I was a kid, though, it really got me. Anyways, all that being said, I think I liked the show better than the book. It did keep me engaged as an adult. There were some moments where I was like bored and like on my phone while it was playing, just because I don't like that slow burn of the movie, like of the show, I should say. I don't like. Now I know why. I have no light on. I'm like, why is this weird lighting? Because I forgot to turn on the freaking light. Come on, Megan. Anyway, we're going to roll with it. Anyway, so it's kind of a big build-up and just kind of showing the characters and their friendship. And me, I'm like, let's get on with it. But I do think I like the show better than the book. I think for a lot of books, they should be made into TV shows rather than movies. The one I don't say that about is 13 Reasons Why, because they should have stopped after the first season. I don't know why it went on. I only watched the first season, and I heard they were making season 2. I said nope. Anyways, so I think most books should be made into a movie just because there's always so much they cut out of the books. I'm sorry. Books should be made into shows rather than movies. There's always so much they cut out, and I feel like you can get a better picture if it's a TV show. Lunar Chronicles, please make a show. Anyways. So the show, of course, provided like a really deep understanding of the characters. I think even deeper than the book. For example, like the Colonel and his relationship with Sarah. it was just so much deeper in the show, and it showed how hard he worked to get a nice suit for her event, and then he didn't want his friends to retaliate at the debutante ball because he said, he didn't want to ruin that night for her. And then her dad just showing his disapproval in him at the debutante ball. Like, there was just so much with their relationship, where in the book it was just kind of this funny thing, like they hate each other. But the show really showed that they do care about each other. Where they hated each other, but they did love each other. So it was just a little bit deeper of a relationship in the show. Dr. Hyde was also way better in the show. It showed like a backstory for him, which was really cool, because in the book he was just like their teacher who was like on the verge of death because he had one leg or something. He always seemed like he was on the verge of death. Anyway, but in the show, it showed his backstory, where he was like in love with a man who died of AIDS, and the man's family didn't allow Hyde to attend the funeral. So it was just a really touching backstory for him, and he was just much closer to Pudge, Alaska, and the Colonel in the show, and they went to his house where he told them his backstory, and then he even went to Chip's house during Christmas break to try to talk to him about Alaska, at the Colonel's mother's request. Like I said, this video is going to be short. This is literally my last bullet point, and then I'm just going to kind of talk. But my last one is about the final prank. Oh my gosh, it brought me life seeing it in person, and it was so, I cried. I knew it was going to happen, and I cried anyway. But I don't know. They brought in the guy who works at the liquor store that Alaska always went to be the stripper, which I thought was funny. He was so skinny. In the book, they actually hired a stripper, but in the show, it was just that guy, and how they all stood up and they're like, "Oh yeah, take it off," and then all the guys took off their clothes. It was just so funny. And then, oh my gosh, the teacher, oh no, the eagle, not the teacher, he was like the principal, but the eagle, his character in the show was so much more well-rounded. In the book, he was just kind of the strict principal type character, but in the show, he showed his other sides. He showed that he was just as affected by Alaska's death. He laughed at the boys getting away with it. He's like, he knew it was them, but he's like, "You're right, I can't prove it. That was great. Alaska would have loved it." And he had a relationship in the show. I just think he was much more well-rounded as well. There was something else I was going to say about him. Oh, that conversation he had on the bus with that one weekend warrior. I don't know any of those dudes' names. They're all Chad to me, okay? So he was on the bus pouting, and one of the Chads came up, and he was kind of venting to him, which, I mean, that added a lot to his character. But should he really have been talking to a student about that stuff? Probably not. Probably go get your new girlfriend, the French teacher or whatever she taught, and talk to her about it, because not really appropriate to talk to a student that way. And then the student said something about his mustache, and he shaved his mustache. I don't know, that part was just a little weird for me, but overall I liked the Eagles character. My favorite character in the series and probably in the book was Takumi. Killed it. I just wish we could have seen more of Takumi, honestly, because the parts we saw were shining. He said, "I'm a fox, can't catch fox." I was like, yes, Takumi. Yes, Takumi. But in the book, he was a rapper, and we didn't get to see him rap at all, which was very disappointing. I love Takumi. Alaska, I did like who they picked for her. Honestly, I don't think she's like the stereotypical pretty, which I think worked for the show. I didn't really care for how they made her dress kind of like 80s-ish. Like it was the 2000s. Like, yeah, she shops at thrift stores, but there's not all 80s clothes at thrift stores. But I guess that was just her style. But I thought it was just kind of forced into us thinking like she was different and cool. But Pudge, I think he was perfect for the role. Honestly, perfect. The Colonel was the best acting in the whole thing. Like, he was so good too. If Takumi is not my favorite, the Colonel definitely is. He was so good. Let me think what else. Yeah, I don't know. Just like Alaska. Like in the book, I remember Alaska was still with her college boyfriend when she got with Pudge, and that's why she was all upset and about messing things up. But in the show, she was upset because she forgot like her mom's. Maybe that was in the book too. I honestly don't remember. But she was definitely still with her boyfriend when she was like hooking up with Pudge, where in the show they had broken up. But it was like their anniversary. What else? So I don't know. I thought it was a good show. A lot of people will like hate on it just because like of how the characters talk, which is very common for a John Green book. Like they're all kind of very smart kids who talk fast and who kind of like have these big thoughts, like the Fault in Our Stars. Like all these books are about these characters who are very smart, and people kind of think they sound like adults who have lived a long time, which is probably what John Green is like. Like it's probably just his own voice through these kids, and people have a problem with it. They're like, kids don't talk like that. But these kids are at like a super snotty private boarding school. So I think it's very fitting for this book and this TV show. I think it just kind of did it justice. They wouldn't, and you know, there were times where they talk like kids too. But there's a mix because they're at a school, like they are smart kids and they have been pondering these things, and it, like Alaska reads all these great books that gets her thinking these ways. Like it's not just out of nowhere, it's very explained. And like when she's talking to Dr. Hyde about her paper and she's like, oh, I think I crushed it then, like that or something like that. But she definitely said something where she sounded younger. They're not always sounding old, like they're not, and that's John Green's style. So I don't think that critics can just say it every time he comes out with something. Like, get over it. He likes to write smart characters. It's fine. Yeah, not all high schoolers are like that, but some are. You know, when I was in high school, I probably wasn't the stereotypical high schooler either, but I wasn't like a John Green high schooler, but like everyone's just different. So let him write smart characters. I like seeing smart characters. I grew up on Gilmore Girls where they talked fast and talked a lot, and that wasn't my life. Like, I talk slow. So I don't know. Not everyone's the same. If you have not read the book, I'd say you can pass. If you have not seen the show, I'd say watch it. Very good. Fast and Straight. Go watch the show.